The pandemic has changed a lot of things, including how and what we think of as the workplace. And how much change can we expect going forward, and how can employers help support employees thrive in these evolving workplaces? Leni Rivera, author and workplace experience specialist, joins us this morning to talk a little bit more about it. Good morning, Leni. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, good morning, Leslie. Thank you for having me. I know it's crazy times, isn't it?
Yes.
Especially when it is the workplace. But nowadays, when you hear these words and you think about, a new workplace or things that are happening that's new, what really is happening is people are talking about working from home or working remotely or this hybrid work model that people talk about. But that concept isn't really new. In fact, people have been working remotely for over a decade. In 2019, for example, this was a year before the pandemic, the International Workplace Group released a survey that said the global workforce, 70% of the global workforce worked from home at least one day a week, and 53% worked from home more than half of the week. So working from home isn't a new concept. What is new is the way that companies are perceiving people who work from home today than they did back then.
And so what does that mean?
Well, that's a good question. And the thing is, again, it wasn't anything new, but back then, companies saw employees who worked from home and employees who worked in the office as two separate entities. And they focused all of their resources in investing in the corporate offices to make sure that employees were productive and fully engaged while they were in the office. So they had beautiful interiors, productive workstations, fully stocked break rooms, whereas those who worked from home were kind of left to their own defenses. And then what happened is when the pandemic hit, and all of us in the office-based industries were forced to work from home, companies expected that we are equally productive and fully engaged while we're working from home. But we weren't always equipped with everything that we needed to be sustainably productive. I mean, not everybody had access to great Wi-Fi, for example, or the proper computer hardware or software or video conferencing equipment. And worst of all, many people didn't have access to a dedicated home office. I mean, how many of us are still working from the sofa or from the dining room table?
Right.
And so as we're talking now about working from home long term and working from home no longer as a trend, but into the new norm, companies are seeing that they need to help enable employees to be sustainably productive working from home. And that's why there's a shift now in the perception of working from home.
Okay, and so how do companies really help support their employees? And more importantly, how can employees stand up for themselves and say, you know what, you got to take care of me if you're going to put me at home?
That's a very good question. And, if you think about it, it is now the employees' market. I mean, employees are now, if you're not taking care of me, then I'm going to find a company that does. And they are expressing themselves. And that's a good thing, because really, companies are only successful if employees are successful. And studies have shown that happy employees make better business for companies. So it is in everybody's interest to focus on employees and making them productive. And when we talk about workplace experience today, the focus now of a workplace experience is no longer on where employees work. It's on how you work. And the focus is shifting from enabling places to enabling you, the worker, to be productive and engaged regardless of where it is you're working from. I mean, if you think about it, right now we're only talking about working from home and working in the office. But eventually, when the pandemic eventually leaves us alone, people are also going to be working in train stations or on trains, in airports, in hotel rooms, in cafes. And companies, rightfully so, will expect that we're productive and engaged in all of these locations. So it is in everybody's interest, in companies' interest, to make sure that employees are productive and engaged regardless of where it is they're working from. And this is what I'm calling the workplace of you, where they put you, the worker, at the center or at the heart of their focus in enabling you to be productive. Right. Let me give you examples. Let me give you examples to help understand how this works. Let's say your biggest barrier to success right now is that you don't have a dedicated home office. Well, companies can engage their corporate interior designers and ergonomists to sit with you and help you figure out where in your home they can carve out space that has, say, the best lighting or the strongest Wi-Fi access, and teach you about seating heights and desk heights so that you can be sustainably productive working from home. Again, the focus is making sure that you have everything you need to be productive and engaged, regardless of where you are. And this new workplace of you is how companies and employees can be sustainably productive and flexible today and into the future.
Yeah, I like that workplace of you. And I especially like, what you said. Happy employees lead to better, happy companies. Such good advice as we continue in this evolving conversation. Leni Rivera, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me, Leslie.